Hello everyone, welcome to lecture 3 of week 3 in this NPTEL course titled Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. In the last class, we discussed in detail regarding the concept like brand development index, category development index, then brand penetration, category penetration and penetration share. We understood how to evaluate the strength or weakness of a brand or a category in a particular market segment. We also discussed how popularity of a brand or category may be purviewed under the penetration matrix. In today's class, we will focus on two important metrics that help us understand the customer's loyalty and the user's behavior. So, then title of these two metrics are share of requirements, which is also known as the share of wallet, and the usage index. These metrics go deeper into the existing customer base and reveal whether our market share comes from wide reach, deep loyalty or heavy usage by the customer. By the end of these lectures, we will be able to calculate and interpret both the metrics using some examples. Let us start. The first concept that we are going to discuss in today's class is the share of requirement. Share of requirement, which is also commonly known as the share of wallet, it is a powerful measure of loyalty. Unlike the market share, which looks at the entire market, this particular matrix focuses only on those customers who have purchased this particular brand. It asks questions like, of all the purchases in the category that our customers make, what is the percentage goes to our brand? Same customers might purchase my brand as well as some other brands. So, I will just take a combination of all the customers who have bought my product. Does not matter to what intensity, does not matter what share of his or her total purchase. Now, what I will calculate is that what proportion of those combined customers is or can be attributed to our brand. Let us say there is 1 lakh customers in the entire market. Out of 1 lakh customers, 50,000 have bought our product, and this 50,000 they have in total they have bought 2 lakhs units, this 50,000 customers, and out of this 2 lakhs units, these people have bought 1 lakh unit of our brand. So, in that case, these customers who have bought our product, 1 lakh unit out of this 2 lakhs purchases can be attributed to our brand. So, the share of requirement will be 50%. In simple, the share of requirements often can be viewed as measure of loyalty. It basically represents the percentage of category purchase accounted for by the brand among its own set of customers. Or indirectly, what we can say is that it is the market share among the people who have already bought my brand. The market share, if I consider these people who has purchased my product as the entire market, in that case share of requirement is exactly like your market share. High share of requirement indicates strong loyalty. Customers prefer us when they buy in the particular category. Low share means even our customers are buying a lot from other, even our customers are buying from our brand, they are also buying a lot of products from our competitors. Let us have a look at the purpose of share of requirements. The primary purpose of share of requirement is to understand the source of market share in terms of breadth and depth of the customer's franchisee, as well as the extent of relative category uses. Heavy users, larger customers versus light users or smaller customers. The share of requirements, it assesses the source of market share, it evaluates the breadth and depth of customer franchisee. I mean, how many customers are buying, and then to what extent the customers are buying. Then identify the usage intensity among the customers. Then gauge the brand strength among the existing set of customers. It helps us refining the targeting strategies and also helps us supporting the competitive benchmarking. Now, let us have a look at the construction of share of requirements. A given brand share of purchase in its category measured solely among the customers who have purchased that particular brand. As I said, it is also known as the share of wallet. When calculating share of requirements, marketers may use either dollar or units. So, in case of unit share of requirements, it is brand purchase in terms of total units divided by total category purchase in terms of units by the brand buyers. Similarly, in terms of revenue share of requirements, it is brand purchase in terms of rupees or dollar divided by total category purchase by the brand buyers in terms of rupees or dollar. So, we can have an example, let us say from a Western context. In a particular month, the unit purchases of Aloha brand sunscreen ran 1 lakh units, 10 lakhs bottles. Among the households that bought Aloha, the total purchase of sunscreen came to 20 lakhs bottles. So, this set of customers bought 10 lakhs Aloha brand and another 10 lakhs some other brands. Now, what is the share of requirement for Aloha brand? So, it is 10 lakhs divided by 20 lakhs, that is 50%, right. So, let us also take an example of in the Indian context. So, in a given month, households that bought Amul butter purchased 1,20,000 packets of Amul. These same households bought a total of 2 lakhs packets of butter, any meal including Amul. So, what will be the share of requirement? I will just quickly write down the numbers. So, for Amul it is 1,20,000, and the same set of people who have bought some Amul packets, they have also bought some other brands. Let us say the additional amount is 80,000, that is 1,20,000 plus 80,000. So, total purchase by these people who have bought at least one piece of Amul product is 2 lakhs. So, that is why the share of requirement will be 1,20,000 divided by 2 lakhs. Okay. So, 1 will go. So, 2 lakhs, that is coming as 60%. Means my buyers are 60 on an average, all my buyers, all the people who are my current customers, they are buying 60% from my brand and they are buying 40% from some other brands. So, the loyalty is 60%, the average loyalty at this particular stage is 60%. So, this is about how we can calculate the share of requirements. Then comes another concept called the usage index. So, usage index basically identifies the depth of purchase of your buyer in comparison to depth of any other buyer in the market or in that particular category. Let us say the buyers of Amul, the 50,000 people who are buying at least one packet of Amul, what is the average consumption by them? How many packets they are consuming in a month? Versus let us say there are 1 lakh people who are buying any brand including Amul, what is their average consumption? So, that will be determined with a metric called the usage index. So, basically it is a reflection of whether the user is, my brand user is heavier or lighter as compared to an average user in the market. Let's say my brand users are consuming on an average 2 units per week. On the other hand, an average users in the entire market is consuming 3 units per week. So, my brand users may be loyal to me. It does not matter on what is the reach of my brand. It does not take care of the extent of loyalty of my brand users. But what it talks about is what is the usage rate of my brand user in comparison to the usage rate of the average customers in the overall market. The usage index is a relative measure that indicates how heavily the customers of a given brand use the product category. The usage index is also known as the weight index, yields insight into the source of volume and the nature of brand's customers base. Whether my customers are heavy users or my customers are light users, what is the lifetime value of my customers, what is the value of my customers that they can create. So, these are reflected under this usage index. Usage index denotes the ratio of the average category uses for the customers of the brand to the average category uses of all the customers in the market. Similarly, like share of requirements, the usage index can be calculated on the basis of units or dollars. Now, let us have a look at the purpose of usage index. The primary purpose is to define and measure whether a firm's customers are heavy users or light users as compared to an average customers in the entire industry. The usage index answered this question: how heavily do our customers use the category of our product? Remember that whenever we are calculating the usage index, we are not taking into consideration regarding the share of requirements. Let us say person who has purchased the Amul product, let us say they are also purchasing some mother dairy products. So, in that case, we are just in case of usage index, we are just considering how many units they are purchasing. It does not matter whether they are purchasing it from Amul or mother dairy. If at least 1 unit of purchase is made from Amul, the usage index will be calculated for others as well. So, though the average purchase is 4 units per week, out of this 4 units only 2 units is procured from this particular brand, that is Amul. But in usage index that will be taken into consideration. How heavy my users are, how heavily they are using the product category rather than the purchase from the brand. So, formula wise it goes like this: usage index equal to average total purchase in category by the brand customers. Remember this word, concentrate on this word, average total purchases in the category. We are not talking about only the brand, by the brand customers. Amul's customers, how many average number of packets they are consuming per week. Does not matter how many from Amul, rather it only matters how many overall. Divided by average total purchases in category by all customers of the total category. If we consider it milk, what is the average milk consumption per, what is the average packet consumption per week by users of any kind of milk. So, this gives us the usage index. So, now let us have a quick look in this example. Over a period of 1 year, the average shampoo purchase by household using the Shower Fund brand shampoo was, let us say 615 OG bottles. During the same period, the average shampoo consumption by households using any brand of shampoo was 4, it should be 15, just a minute, it should be, I will just correct it. Now, what will be the usage index? So, in case of one it is 4 and in case of the overall market it is, in case of the brand it is 6 and in case of the overall market it is 4. So, the usage index is 6 divided by 4, that is 1.5, which means that customers of Shower Fun brand shampoo bought more shampoo than the average customers of shampoo users. Now, we will look into the relation between, because we have already studied about these 3 different categories of metrics. In today's class we have discussed about share of requirement and usage index, and in the previous class we discussed about the penetration, and now we will try to look into the relationship between this penetration, share of requirement and usage index. So, if we remember, what was the penetration share? Penetration share was basically a ratio between the brand share and the market, I mean brand penetration and market penetration. So, what was brand penetration? Number of people who have purchased your product now divided by number of people who have purchased at least any of the product in that category. Similarly, market penetration is like number of people who have purchased that particular category divided by the total population, right. So, similarly we have devised this formula for share of requirements, then we have also devised this formula for usage index. So, market share can be actually calculated as a product of these 3 components, that is the penetration share, share of requirements and usage index. Basically, market share will be equal to penetration share, which is a ratio between the brand penetration and market penetration, multiplied by share of requirement, which is the ratio of the brand purchase divided by the overall purchase by the brand buyers, then multiplied by the usage index, means average purchase of the brand buyers divided by the average purchase of the category buyers. So, this will give you the overall market share of the brand. Now, as we have this equation in place, we can devise the one matrix from another one. So, usage index can be calculated as market share divided by penetration share multiplied by share of requirement. This equation work for market share defined in either unit or dollar as long as the construction of the share of requirements and usage index matches. There cannot be a situation where you are measuring one matrix in terms of dollar and another matrix in terms of units, then this equation will not work. All the metrics have to be consistently measured either in terms of dollar or in terms of units. So, as we can see, we can also calculate the share of requirements as a ratio between market share divided by penetration share multiplied by usage index from the same equation. Let us have a look at one example. So, Edward's brand cereal has a market share in the urban police of 8%. The usage index of Edward's in the urban police is 1, means the average user of urban police is average usage of the customers of urban police is equal to the average usage of the overall category users. The brand penetration share in the urban police is 20%. Now, on this basis we can calculate the Edward's share of requirement in urban police. As we know, market share equal to penetration share multiplied by share of requirements into usage index. So, share of requirements will be equal to market share divided by usage index into penetration share. So, in this case the market share is given as 8%, usage index is given as 1% and your penetration share is given as 20%. So, overall share of requirement will be 40%. So, the buyers of Edward's brand are purchasing 40% of their total requirement from Edward brands and 60% of the requirement from some other brands. So, market share and usage index must both be defined in terms of the same unit like units or revenue. Depending on the definition of these two metrics, the calculated share of requirement will either be unit share of requirement or the revenue share of requirement. So, this is how we can calculate the share of requirement given that market share is in place, usage index is in place and penetration share is in place. Then there is another concept or another extension of share of requirement, which is called sole usage percentage. The proportion of the brand's customers who bought only that brand's product and did not buy from the competitors is called the sole usage percentage. Let us say I have 100 customers. Out of these 100 customers, 10 customers are buying only my product and rest of the 90 customers are also purchasing from other brands. In this case, my sole usage percentage will be 10%. It does not talk about what is the intensity or frequency of buying of this 10%. They might be light users or that remaining 90% or 90% may be heavy users, but these people are more loyal to me as compared to rest of the 90%. The value created by rest of the 90% may be more because they are buying my product more in absolute terms, but in terms of percentage these people are 100% committed to my product, my brand. So, construction wise, sole usage equal to customer who buy only the brand in question and divided by the total brand customers. So, during a given period some customers may buy only a single brand within a category whereas others buy 2 or more. In evaluating the loyalty to a given brand, marketers sometimes compare the average number of brands purchased by the brand customers to the average number of purchased by all customers in the category like in usage index. So, this is all about this concept of share of requirement, usage index and the market share. So, what we have derived, what are the key takeaways of today's session? First one, we understood what is called share of requirement and how share of requirement is related to loyalty. Here, whenever we are talking about the loyalty, we are not talking about the value created, quantum of value created. We are talking about the percentage of value that can be attributed to our brand by our customers. This is share of requirement. Then we talked about the usage index. So, usage index is nothing but the usage level, usage rate, level of consumption of our brand customers. This usage index does not talk about level of loyalty. What is their usage rate? Are they heavier than an average customers in the market or they are lighter as compared to an average customer in the overall product category? This is usage index. Then in the last class only we discussed about the penetration. So, now today we also devised an equation which establishes the relationship between these three metrics, that is the penetration, the share of requirement and the usage index. So, this multiplication of these three metrics will give you the overall market share of the brand in the entire industry. So, with this note I conclude today's session. I will see you with some different metrics in the subsequent class. Thank you.